Alright, here we are in game one of this best of three in the winners bracket finals for the Alpha Navigators Cup weekly number 22. With TheoRy in the blue Infernal here up against his opponent msrm in the red Infernal. And we are here on Lost Hope. We've got a Vault and a Conclave out of msrm and a Hexen going in the right direction to scout out TheoRy and see that there's also a vault and a conclave here. A Vonclave, we'll call it. A Vonclave. With the farm being hidden in the back, not out on the map. Sometimes that first farm's out on the map. And it was Vault into Conclave here, but it was Conclave into Vault here. So it's slightly different. Slightly different. And msrm is already here camped out above the speed camp, and that is because with this spawn location the speed camp is advantageously in TheoRy's position, and so TheoRy's likely going to be able to creep it first, although we do have a brute coming out here, and msrm's going to want to chase him away or get some last kills or get some Scholashettas. And we saw it earlier. Actually, TheoRy's gone for his health camp instead. That means msrm is going to be able to jack this camp, which is in his benefit here. And a couple of fiends showing up. So there's actually a brute coming down saying, hey, we want to clear this camp now, but actually the camp's been half cleared. And now it's TheoRy's brute tanking for msrm, basically. Although the brute did get one kill there, and now we've got to fight over this camp, and there's just more from TheoRy here, and those fiends from TheoRy get on top of the Gaunts and take out the Gaunt. It's just the Hexen left, and she's trying to get away. There's one more brute there, and it's TheoRy with the permanent effigy here and able to come away with the camp. So not sure if that early sort of harassment aggression really worked in msrm's favor. And now msrm's trying to take his healing camp while TheoRy's walking right up with his army, brute on, and the brutes are going, I'm stealing your creeps. Didn't even care about the army, just went right on top of those creeps, stealed a couple creep income, and now it is engaging in this fight. msrm has to retreat. The fiend's not getting the memo and running the wrong way around, doing that awkward pathing through the army. And now there's just a weak Hexen, a couple of Gaunts, and a single brute. And this Conclave is now going to get targeted. Again, I think this is a good strategy with your harass. Go for production buildings. Go for supply if they're out on the map and it's easier to attack. You don't know what's up that ramp. You don't know if msrm's trying to bait you into something. Now we know what's up this ramp. It's actually an okay force, but TheoRy can take it. And see TheoRy scouting it with the Skull of Shetta first. Can I take that before I move up and put myself in a precarious position? And sure enough, he can, and that's a GG from msrm. Alright, here we are in game two between Aftermath's TheoRy here in the blue Infernal up against his red Infernal opponent, msrm. This is game two. This is a best of three in the winners bracket final of the Alpha Navigators Cup. And here is Hexen on Hexen violence. Ooh, first shot in for TheoRy. Important first shot. But msrm says, I'm going to eat your cabbage. And TheoRy's like, fine, I will eat your cabbage right back. I'm really just here to eat cabbages and scout your base and see what you got. You got a vault. What else do you have up there, msrm? What are you hiding up in your main? Yes, it is a conclave, and with that knowledge, I will return home. And same thing over here. We got a vault on the low ground, conclave on the high ground. This is almost mirror builds right now. We did have TheoRy lumberjacking, not thumberjacking. That's different. But no lumberjacking over here. So there is a very minor difference, and we have high ground creeping here. This is the free creeping. This has been a thing for a very long time, but it is gotten a little bit harder, and I would say for that reason maybe less popular when they buffed the hit points on these Shadow Mastiffs. Now it just takes a little longer to kill them all. But that doesn't seem too bad with two Gaunts, actually. And I like that you put the Skull of Shedda on the last one, not the first one, so your Fiend doesn't have to sit there and tank that damage. Now, TheoRy went for the health camp first, which is, you know, sort of the more traditional standard way to go. But has already sent a Brute here to start fighting. Now, that might have been premature. That Brute's getting focus fire down, and now he's going to get Zotted, straight Zotted. But the Fiends do get out. They're a little weak. There's a couple weak Fiends. Yeah, and good micro. Tried to target down that Hexen. That's mean of them, but now they're going to go down. Bye-bye, Shadow Mastiffs. More Gaunts being added, and we do not see a base here yet. Actually, from either of them. This is going to be an aggressive game. We have speedy little Flash Gaunts running up here, trying to cause trouble, getting on top of this Brute. But they're deciding, let's retreat. Not able to jack any creeps. What happened there? A lot of Fiends went down real quick, and it was a little bit laggy there, so it wasn't clear. I think it was just a lot of axes from these Gaunts. And they try and focus fire. There's just more Gaunts for TheoRy, and that's just really quick. The Hexen's down. Now, sometimes at this stage you get a GG. But, looks like MSRM's thinking, okay, I'm not that bad. I still have an army. And to be honest, that army is not, you know, the actual supply is the same. So, MSRM having a better read. And look how many Gaunts now. Definitely worried about a push after you lose your army out on the map like that. You should expect units to show up. Now, as soon... Okay. Oh, I really like that. TheoRy used his Fiend to take away the vision first and then moved his army in so that MSRM wouldn't see that his army was over there. It's just too easy sometimes to move your whole army in and then give your opponent vision. What this means is MSRM is still camped on his ramp, expecting that there's going to be some aggression coming up. And I've been in this situation myself before. You start coming up with fearful scenarios of what's waiting out there outside of your vision. All the map control right now is in theories, so you assume there's an army right outside your ramp, and it's about to move in. And you really slowly have to move your way out and start taking camps and try and say, okay, can I get some map presence to feel safe? And we don't even have a base going down here. Just more Gaunts being added. We do have a Ritual Chamber with Plague Axes on the way. And TheoRy back home, Ritual Chamber not done yet. No tier 2 from either of them. But TheoRy has used his map control to just like, I am going to put down another base. I am trying to get here into the mid-game, and MSRM has decided, well, I've been camped at my base long enough. I've built up this army. I have to do something with it. If you're not going to attack me, and I'm not going to defend, then I have to march it into your base. And TheoRy got wind of this, and his speedy units are able to come back. But now it is MSRM on the high ground. His Plague Axe is done. Just finishing as he's in the mineral line here. Of course, the imps have been pulled away, and now the units have been split, and this is not great for MSRM. His army is fighting in two different sides, and a lot of his units have focused these imps, which actually turned out to be good, because it spawned a bunch of Fiends, and the Fiends doing a bit of tanking, and now it's MSRM on top of TheoRy's Gaunts. They're just marching right on top, using those Plague Axes to spawn more Fiends. A couple of Brutes come out as quick reinforcements, but that's not going to be enough. The Brutes go down, the remaining Fiends, and that is a GG out of TheoRy with great counterplay from MSRM. Alright, here we are in Game 3, the final match in this best of 3 between Aftermath TheoRy, spawning here in the Blue Infernal, and opening with the Conclave. And his opponent, MSRM, opening Vault in the Red Infernal, here on Titan's Causeway. No, is that... This is Titan's Causeway. I was confused by the center here for a second. Thought it might have been, what is it, Secluded Grove. No, we're on Titan's Causeway, and we got Hexens marching opposite ways, and what that means is no violence between the Hexens other than cabbage stealing. There was a cabbage stolen here. I think there might have been one stolen there as well. There's an imp here who is trying to hide in the ground, which is a place that imps can hide, but it just doesn't work. You can still see them because their heads pop up. But the imp's managing to get on by and saying, I'm putting down a farm over here. And the Hexens retreating back to their homes. Hexen plus Gaunts coming out here for TheoRy to begin the creeping. And Hexen plus Brute for msrm. I do like to see that another thing I like about the Infernal right now is that there are different openings you can do. There are different ways you can play the early game, the mid game. It feels like you have options. And I would love us to get to a point where all factions and all matchups feel that way. That when I'm opening, I have options on how I'm going to build. And I can be reactive to what you're doing, but I can also have a good strategy that I can just build out from. Hopefully, not be reactive the whole game. And I'm sure we're going to get into that place eventually. This forward conclave here, interestingly, helping msrm sort of creep this camp a little bit quicker by getting his gaunts out faster and on the map. But it looks like both armies are kind of neck and neck here. There's an extra brute here down for TheoRy, and they're moving across the map. I'm not sure, I don't think msrm caught wind of this, but he is moving his army into the right position to deal with it. And unfortunately not having the right forces or the matching forces, but having the advantage of the healing camp. We did get one brute split actually for TheoRy. Sorry for jerking around the map there a bit. And there's now a brute advantage for msrm with 4 gaunts, but 6 gaunts from TheoRy. It's really hard for me to really predict who's winning in that kind of scenario, although it looks like TheoRy's army is starting to get bigger. And with that cool lightning effect on them, they just look cooler. They look like they should win when they're all powered up like that. You know, graphics has never really been something that I cared a lot about in RTS games, but wow, have I been impressed by the improvements that FGS has been putting on these most latest graphics updates. Like, more of that, please. And they've almost over-tuned some of the effects. I noticed that you got like 5 or 6 Kree exploding at the same time. It's like, that's all you can see. But it's still better than what they had before. These fiends, little lightning fiends trying to get on top of some gaunts and not managing to get a kill there, but almost. Nice play out of msrm. Some fell hogs over here, giving them the final chase away. And TheoRy's force here, TheoRy's finally putting down a base here, but the base is already up for msrm. That's probably gonna make a difference here. Let's see what that is gonna mean. Now, last game it was TheoRy that got the base up early, and then msrm just marched across the map with a big army and killed them. So we'll see, because here comes a big army from TheoRy marching across the map. But there's a big army from msrm to meet him, so that might be the difference here. Let's see how it goes. Okay, this army may be a bit indecisive. Seeing a healing cabbage there and deciding to turn back. Nope, deciding I'm going to take that healing cabbage. There are these 3 fiends. That's not going to be enough to really distract this army of TheoRy, though. Or is it? Is the whole army going to come back? No, there's 2 fiends pop, or 2 gaunts pop out. The fiends get chased away. But TheoRy's army is indeed coming back. And maybe that aggression has been stopped by a couple fiends. So TheoRy's back, chasing some fiends around, and maybe deciding, well, let's do some creeping. So he does spawn an effigy here to get that advantage. Both the infests from the gaunts, but also get that slow regen on your units. These guys hit hard, the bruisers and what are the other guys called? I forgot what they're called. But they do hit hard, so having that shroud helps out there. What's going on here? Splitting his units. That might be some of that weird pathing again. Yeah, I think so. Although, one Fiend here, and yeah, maybe taking this speed camp, but more Fiends show up, as well as the whole army. TheoRy might be looking for a fight here. Decides to go soak up in those healing juices again. Mostly just to see that cool graphics effect again, of course. And msrm is taking this camp, but Mike gets jumped upon by TheoRy. Now TheoRy's sending a Skullashetta out again, seeing, hey, is there an army there? What's it looking like? And can I take this Therium camp? Because Skullasheddas are units, so they can take the camp, and they have not yet been, you know, patched out so they can't. The invisible units were patched out because it was kind of annoying to have scanners everywhere stealing your camps. But the Skullasheddas are temporary. They can't sit there and hold the camp, so I don't think they're quite as annoying. And now it is msrm kind of moving in across the map, or at least in the middle of the map, and taking over this Luminite camp. But the army from TheoRy just looking a little bit better. There is a mag there, but the Skullashetta impacting it because it does max damage to the mag in the sense that it's a percent-based damage. So if you can get it on something with lots of hit points, you'll do the most hit points. The counter to that, of course, is Shroud regen is also percent-based. So the mags and the weavers, they regen the most on the Shroud, which is why it can feel like they're hard to kill when they're on Shroud. Both of them also with that really cool Chomp ability, which allows them to eat a Fell Hog or a Fiend, and that will regain all of their Shroud scan, white health. So it looks like TheoRy's going for that higher tech. He's got Weavers and mag, a single mag. I love the one mag. It's there for chopping trees, and if I can get a good stomp off, I will, but I'm not going to overcommit. Now here we have a battle down. That mag's right out in the front, and it's causing them to go back. I also like how he controls his mag not to go too far and overcommit. Once you're in the middle of all those gaunts, it's so easy for them to focus fire down. But if you stop right at the edge, it can be a nice tank on your front line. Another trample coming out, so the cooldown refreshing. Using a lash on a brute to, you know, if there's nothing worth targeting, just go and target that down. Speed boost now coming for msrm, so he can finally escape that push. But like I said, oh, come on, follow the rules. Poor Magmadon. The pathing, you know, if you click on the other side of the trees, he won't trample his way through. He tries to walk around. That's just something they'll have to work on. So had to wait for the cooldown again, and then finally chomp those trees. Said, okay, you bought yourself 20 seconds or however long that cooldown was, because now I'm going to get on top of your base. And here comes the battle. The Gaunts are trying to come out front and get on top of the imps so that they can spawn some more fiends. But there's Gaunts to meet from msrm, but look at that trample right on top of the Gaunts, splitting the Gaunts in two. Lots of splash damage. The Gaunts are trying to focus it down, and indeed they do. But that's just too many low health Gaunts now. If the Gaunts of TheoRy get on top, there's just going to be fiends everywhere, and that's a GG out of msrm. And that's the end of the winner bracket finals.